embarrassing yourself and your family. You embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself.
Hold on tight, because what I'm about to reveal will shake the hip-hop world to its core. Yes, we're talking T.I., 50 Cent, and King Harris, a triangle of tension, betrayal, and explosive words that nobody saw coming. The stage is set, and the cameras were rolling when things went from tense to outright shocking. Imagine an apology that didn't feel sincere, a confrontation that cut deep, and fans watching every single moment like it was the season finale of the most dramatic reality show ever. Social media exploded before the dust even settled, hashtags trending, memes multiplying, and fan theories running wild. The apology to 50 Cent wasn't just a simple gesture. Insiders say it was laced with hidden meaning, a silent message that hinted at frustrations long bottled up. And then came the confrontation with King Harris, raw, unfiltered, and broadcast live, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Every word, every glance, every pause told a story that the mainstream media barely dared to touch. Some say it was respect, some say it was revenge, but one thing is clear, the tension was tangible, the emotions volcanic. Luxury, ego, power, and street credibility collided in a way that only hip-hop can produce. Fans were glued to their screens, debating every phrase, dissecting every reaction, and sharing every clip like wildfire. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more explosive, whispers of backroom discussions, secret messages, and potential alliances emerged, making this a story that's just beginning to unravel. By the end, no one will look at T.I., 50 Cent, or King Harris the same way again. It all started the night the cameras rolled, but the tension had been brewing for months behind closed doors. Fans had speculated, whispered, and theorized online, but nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for the explosion that was about to hit. T.I. stepped into the spotlight, face tense, hands gripping the mic, the room electric with anticipation. On one side, 50 Cent, calm but watchful, the kind of stare that could slice through steel. On the other, King Harris, standing proud yet visibly unsettled, sensing that the ground beneath him was about to shift. Rumors had swirled, secret messages, leaked DMs, backstage arguments that nobody saw, and fans connecting dots that were once hidden. But tonight, everything came to light. The apology to 50 Cent wasn't a simple, "I'm sorry" moment. It was a complex dance of ego, pride, and unspoken truths. Every word carried weight, every syllable dissected by the room and, eventually, by the millions watching online. "I never meant to disrespect," T.I. said, his voice steady but with an edge that hinted at years of built-up frustration. 50 Cent's reaction? A slight smirk, a nod, but behind those eyes, the calculation was clear. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. Then came the confrontation with King Harris, explosive, raw, unfiltered. T.I. didn't hold back. He unleashed years of grievances, calling out subtleties that casual fans would never notice. Missed promises, public slights, subtle digs in interviews, and private moments leaked online. King Harris tried to defend himself, but every counterpoint only fueled the intensity of the room. Cameras caught every twitch, every flinch, every raised eyebrow. The tension was palpable, and the energy in the room was like a live wire, unpredictable, volatile, and ready to ignite. Insiders say the drama didn't just happen in front of the camera. Backstage, whispers of secret alliances, undisclosed meetings, and possible manipulations had fans speculating that this was a coordinated spectacle. Was the apology staged? Was the confrontation a setup? Nobody knew for sure, and that uncertainty only made the clips go viral faster. Fans debated every detail, the pause before T.I. spoke, the subtle hand gestures, the way 50 Cent shifted in his seat. Everything became fodder for memes, reaction videos, and trending hashtags. Social media caught fire. Clips from the confrontation circulated on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, each one dissected frame by frame. Comment sections exploded. Some fans sided with T.I., applauding his courage to speak his truth. Others criticized him for what they called a public spectacle. Meanwhile, King Harris's loyal followers rallied in defense, pointing out moments they claimed showed his composure under pressure. The energy online mirrored the chaos in the room, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. What made this moment truly unprecedented was the layering of stakes. This wasn't just about pride or personal beef. It was about legacy, reputation, and control of the narrative in an era where every move is scrutinized. T.I. knew this. He had been building his response for months. Every late-night meeting, every phone call, every subtle nod or hint in interviews was part of a larger plan. And tonight, the pieces fell into place. The apology to 50 Cent was a calculated move, a way to neutralize one axis of tension, but the confrontation with King Harris? That was pure, raw, uncut emotion, meant to resonate and leave a mark that would be replayed endlessly online. Fans noticed details that insiders claim were intentional. T.I.'s choice of words, his tone, even his pacing. He didn't just confront, he narrated a story, painting years of perceived slights into a coherent, emotionally charged account. King Harris, meanwhile, was trapped between defending himself and maintaining his composure. Every pause, every hesitation, every carefully chosen phrase added to the suspense. It wasn't just a confrontation, it was a spectacle of human emotion laid bare for millions to consume. The aftermath was immediate. Within minutes, trending hashtags lit up, fan theories multiplied, and reaction videos flooded every platform. Memes captured the most intense moments: T.I.'s piercing gaze, 50 Cent's smirk, King Harris's flinches, all immortalized in GIFs and clips. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds where supporters, critics, and casual observers argued about what really happened, dissecting motives, past behavior, and even hypothetical scenarios. Every snippet of footage became a point of analysis, every frame a symbol of the drama that had just unfolded. And while the cameras captured the public moment, insiders revealed there was much more going on behind the scenes. Late-night phone calls, encrypted messages, private meetings all hinted at a story far bigger than what was broadcast. Some say there were attempts to manipulate public perception, to control the narrative, and even to create an image of reconciliation that didn't fully exist. Others claim that tension had been simmering for years, and this confrontation was inevitable, a culmination of unresolved issues now laid bare in front of the world. But what truly shocked fans wasn't just the confrontation itself. It was the emotional depth, the stakes, the raw honesty. T.I. wasn't just speaking. He was exposing a part of hip-hop culture that rarely gets seen, the intersection of ego, loyalty, and public image. And 50 Cent's silent acknowledgement? That was an unspoken endorsement of the drama, a recognition that this moment would ripple across the industry. King Harris, caught in the storm, became the focal point of discussions, memes, and fan debates, but also the mirror reflecting the intensity of T.I.'s words. By the end of the night, the footage was dissected by every influencer, blogger, and hip-hop commentator online. Some hailed T.I. as courageous, others as ruthless. Some praised 50 Cent's calm presence, while others questioned King Harris's responses. The discussions didn't stop, they only intensified. And insiders hint that this was only the beginning. Private meetings, potential responses, and follow-up statements were already in motion, setting the stage for the next chapter of this explosive saga. This was more than just an apology and a confrontation. It was a masterclass in tension, drama, and narrative control, broadcast to millions of eyes and dissected in real time. Fans realized that in the world of hip-hop, every word, every glance, every gesture can become viral content, a weapon, or a turning point. The events of that night would be remembered, replayed, and referenced for months to come, not just for the celebrities involved, but for the cultural moment it represented, a raw, unfiltered glimpse into power, pride, and emotion in the spotlight. And as the dust settled, everyone watching could feel it. The stakes were higher, the drama more intense, and the story far from over. The apology may have been given, the confrontation aired, but the ripple effects? They were just beginning, and the industry, the fans, and the media were already bracing for the next shocking chapter. The room was still buzzing from the earlier confrontation. T.I.'s words had hit hard, leaving an invisible tremor in the air, and every eye was fixed on King Harris, who looked like he'd been caught in a storm he didn't see coming. Sweat dotted his forehead, his hands subtly trembling, yet he tried to maintain a calm exterior. But the intensity of T.I.'s glare and the calculated smirk from 50 Cent made it impossible to ignore the weight of the moment. The cameras didn't just capture faces, they captured history, raw and unfiltered, unfolding in real time. Fans watching online could almost feel the tension through their screens. Clips from the confrontation were already circulating on social media, going viral within minutes. Comments exploded, some fans praising T.I.'s bravery, some mocking King Harris's attempts at composure, and others dissecting 50 Cent's subtle nods, wondering if it signified alliance or just acknowledgement. The digital storm mirrored the chaos in the room, uncontainable, unpredictable, and intensifying by the second. King Harris finally spoke, his voice trembling slightly at first, but gaining steadiness as he continued. "You think I don't see what's going on?" he said, eyes locking with T.I. "All these games, all these stories. I've been patient, but you've pushed it too far." T.I. leaned forward, responding with a tone that was calm yet sharp, each word precise and cutting. "Patience is a virtue," T.I. replied, "but when respect is crossed publicly and privately, you leave me no choice but to speak my truth." The clash of words was more than verbal, it was psychological warfare. Each sentence carried history, every pause hinted at hidden battles, and the audience felt the tension like electricity in the air. 50 Cent, sitting slightly back, watched everything like a chess master. His expressions were minimal, almost unreadable, but the room felt the calculated power behind each nod or slight tilt of his head. It was a reminder that, in this world, every reaction is analyzed, every silence interpreted, and every glance becomes ammunition. The cameras zoomed in, capturing micro-expressions, subtle smirks, and flinches, all of which would become viral clips and memes in a matter of hours. The conversation escalated. T.I. didn't just confront King Harris, he dissected years of perceived slights, highlighting incidents that casual fans had never noticed, tweets left unanswered, interviews misquoted, alliances questioned, and subtle digs that had gone under the radar. Each example landed like a punch, building a crescendo of intensity that left the room on edge. King Harris countered, pointing to his own side of the story, but the energy was too overwhelming, too loaded for rational debate. This wasn't negotiation, this was spectacle, raw emotion staged in real time. Backstage whispers suggested that the confrontation had been brewing for months. Sources claimed that private messages had leaked, and insiders hinted at meetings where T.I. meticulously planned how he would approach the situation. Every word of the apology to 50 Cent had been chosen with precision, intended to diffuse one potential conflict before igniting another. The layers of strategy, ego, and raw emotion made the drama richer, leaving fans glued to every frame and comment sections flooded with speculation and heated debates. Suddenly, King Harris shifted. A subtle change in posture, a fleeting hesitation, the cameras caught it all. T.I. seized the moment. "You can try to play it cool, but everyone sees the cracks," he said, his voice calm but authoritative, each syllable a scalpel dissecting pretense. The tension snapped in that moment. Silence fell for a heartbeat before murmurs, camera clicks, and whispered reactions filled the room. Online, the clip immediately hit trending charts. Hashtags like hashtag TIV's King, hashtag 50 Cent Witness, and hashtag Harlem Drama surged as fans dissected the confrontation. T.I.'s next words pushed the intensity to another level. "This isn't just about the past or misunderstandings. It's about respect, in public and in private. And if respect isn't reciprocated, then you leave me no choice but to expose the truth." Every eye in the room widened. King Harris's jaw tightened. 50 Cent leaned slightly forward, signaling subtle approval without saying a word. The interplay of acknowledgement, tension, and psychological dominance was palpable, creating a storm that seemed almost too big to contain. Meanwhile, online reactions grew fiercer by the minute. Influencers and hip-hop commentators picked apart the scene, frame by frame. Some videos slowed down moments where T.I. pointed, paused, or tilted his head, each gesture analyzed for hidden meaning. Memes exploded. King Harris's defensive stance, T.I.'s piercing gaze, 50 Cent's subtle smirk, all circulating like wildfire across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. The scene was no longer just a confrontation. It had become a cultural moment, dissected, debated, and immortalized in digital history. Inside the room, tension reached another peak. King Harris, feeling cornered but unwilling to give in, tried to regain control. "You think airing this publicly makes you strong?" he demanded, his voice rising. T.I., however, remained composed, every word measured, every breath deliberate. "Strength isn't about hiding in private or lashing out online," T.I. said. "It's about facing truth, your own and others, even when it hurts." The clash of philosophies, paired with years of layered conflicts, created an atmosphere that was more than drama. It was education in real time, for everyone watching, on power, ego, and influence. T.I. continued to layer evidence, recalling incidents and private moments that underscored his points. The room felt smaller, tighter, as if compressed by the weight of unspoken truths. Every observer, celebrity, fan, or insider felt like a participant, drawn into the drama, sensing that this moment would shape alliances, reputations, and legacies. Even small gestures, like a nod or shift in weight, were read as signals, becoming part of the larger narrative being recorded not just by cameras, but by millions of eyes online. 50 Cent, silently observing, became the unspoken arbiter of this encounter. His presence alone amplified the stakes. The subtle way he shifted, the rare half-smile, and the measured glances all told the audience that nothing here was accidental. Every move was strategic, every silence purposeful. It reminded fans why 50 Cent is respected and feared in equal measure. The room, charged with tension, became a stage for not just confrontation, but for a lesson in influence, power, and perception. By the time the confrontation concluded, the room had gone through waves of intensity, silence, and verbal sparring that left everyone exhausted yet electrified. T.I. had made his point, King Harris had defended his honor, and 50 Cent's presence had elevated the stakes beyond anything anyone could have imagined. The footage, raw and uncut, was already leaking, and insiders predicted it would dominate trending charts for weeks, fueling debates, memes, and reactions across every platform. The aftermath of the confrontation was immediate and undeniable. Social media exploded, clips circulated, analysts broke down every gesture, and fan theories ran rampant. Every frame of T.I.'s calculated words, King Harris's defensive posture, and 50 Cent's subtle reactions became part of a narrative that fans dissected endlessly. Public opinion split, alliances shifted, and the ripple effects of this explosive encounter were felt across the hip-hop world, signaling that this drama was far from over. It was only beginning. The room had barely begun to settle after the high-voltage confrontation when the aftershocks started to ripple through the scene. T.I.'s words had left King Harris visibly shaken, his defensive posture replaced by a mix of anger and disbelief. The cameras, now almost glued to every motion, captured the subtle micro-expressions, a tightening jaw, a flicker of hesitation, and eyes starting to 50 Cent, who sat back like a general surveying the battlefield. The silence that followed was thick, heavy with unspoken challenges, accusations, and the weight of history between all the players. King Harris tried to reclaim control, his voice rising over the background murmurs. "You think this makes you stronger?" he asked, sweat gleaming under the studio lights. "Facing me on camera, talking down about years of work, you're making a spectacle, not proving respect." His words, loud and sharp, were met with a collective intake of breath. T.I., unflinching, leaned in, his eyes piercing. "This isn't about spectacle. It's about accountability," he replied. "You cross boundaries, mock legacies, and disrespect publicly, and everyone sees it. You don't get to rewrite respect." 50 Cent's presence made every word heavier. His subtle nods and glances were analyzed frame by fans online, as if his silent approval, or lack thereof, could tilt the balance of power. Every movement, Every micro-expression became material for memes, trending hashtags, and fiery online debates. "This is chess, not checkers," one social media commentator typed, perfectly encapsulating the tension in the room. Every gesture, every pause, every word is part of the strategy. King Harris attempted a counter, referencing past alliances and subtle slights he had endured. "You think I haven't been patient? You think this is new? All of us have seen what's happening behind the scenes," he said, his voice now firm, trying to regain some semblance of authority. T.I. responded with surgical precision. "Patience is only effective when paired with respect. You've had your chance to handle things privately. Public disrespect forces public responses." At that moment, Max B., who had been quietly observing from the corner, interjected. His tone was calm but heavy with judgment. "The remix, the diss, the theatrics, they all matter," Max B. said. "But respect isn't granted by fear or theatrics. It's earned by truth and accountability. And that's exactly what T.I. is demanding here." The room went quiet again, the weight of Max B.'s words pressing down like a physical force. The online audience erupted, clips of Max B.'s intervention circulating faster than any previous moments, sparking debate across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. King Harris, now visibly frustrated, slammed a hand lightly on the table. "You think this ends here? You think I'll just sit and take this?" he challenged, his voice rising with desperation and anger. T.I., calm and composed, leaned back, letting the tension simmer. "This doesn't end because you're unwilling to respect boundaries," T.I. stated. "The public sees everything now. Every move, every word, every reaction, it's all recorded. History isn't rewritten by avoidance. It's documented by truth." As the verbal sparring continued, cameras captured small but significant gestures. A smirk from 50 Cent, barely noticeable, suggested amusement or strategy. Max B.'s eyes scanned the room, calculating reactions, while King Harris shifted uneasily in his seat. T.I., ever the tactician, maintained control, his words landing like blows. Each anecdote he referenced, past insults, failed reconciliations, moments of perceived disrespect, was precise, leaving King Harris flustered and fumbling for rebuttals. Suddenly, the conversation pivoted. T.I. confronted King Harris about a social media post that had gone viral days earlier, one that disrespected 50 Cent's family and legacy. "Do you understand the weight of what you posted?" T.I. asked, voice low but sharp. "This isn't just online chatter. Real people, real reputations, real history, all affected. That's why we're here today, and that's why this confrontation is public." King Harris's face tightened. Sweat dripped down his temple. "It wasn't meant like that," he muttered, but his words lacked conviction. The room sensed the fragility behind the facade. 50 Cent's reaction was subtle but telling. A slight nod, a careful adjustment of his chair, conveyed approval of T.I.'s approach. The cameras caught every millisecond, and the online audience dissected the body language endlessly. Clips of the confrontation exploded across social media platforms, trending within minutes. Fans debated alliances, dissected every expression, and speculated on future fallout. The intensity of the moment ensured that the content would dominate hip-hop news cycles for weeks. King Harris, sensing that the confrontation had reached a tipping point, attempted one final defense. "You can call this respect, call this truth, but it feels like a setup," he said, voice wavering yet defiant. "You're orchestrating this moment. Everyone watching knows it." T.I. didn't flinch. "Orchestrated," he replied evenly. "This isn't about theatrics. It's about accountability. If your actions provoke responses, that's not setup, that's consequence. And yes, the cameras capture it, because transparency matters in a world full of lies." The tension in the room became almost unbearable. Max B. added a final layer of pressure. "Look, King Harris, everyone sees patterns. Everyone sees behavior. Respect isn't demanded through intimidation or theatrics. It's earned by owning your mistakes and facing the truth. That's what's happening here." His words landed with force, echoing in the room and online, where viewers dissected every phrase for hidden meaning. As the confrontation drew to a close, the atmosphere shifted. T.I. had asserted his dominance not through anger, but through measured truth. King Harris, though unbroken, appeared rattled, understanding that his attempts at composure had been systematically dismantled. 50 Cent's presence had amplified every word, every gesture, and Max B's commentary had framed the situation in a lens of accountability and respect. The aftermath was immediate. Social media erupted in every corner of the internet. Clips of T.I.'s piercing gaze, King Harris's defensive posture, and 50 Cent's subtle nods went viral. Influencers, hip-hop journalists, and commentators broke down every frame, every gesture, and every word. The scene became a digital classroom in strategy, power, and psychological dominance. Hashtags like hashtag T.I. confronts King, hashtag 50 Cent witness, and hashtag Max B Insight trended, and fans debated endlessly about who won the confrontation. Private messages from insiders suggested this moment would redefine alliances, influence future collaborations, and cement reputations for years to come. The drama was no longer confined to the room. It had become a cultural moment, documented, dissected, and immortalized in real time. Everyone watching felt like they were witnessing a turning point in hip-hop history. Finally, as cameras stopped rolling, T.I. gave one last measured glance at King Harris. "This isn't personal," he said, almost softly. "It's about truth, accountability, and respect. Carry that forward." King Harris remained silent, absorbing the weight of the words, while 50 Cent gave a subtle nod, signaling approval. Max B, still composed, walked out, leaving behind a room electrified with tension, drama, and history. Online, the viral storm continued. Fans replayed the footage, analyzed body language, and debated future implications. Every platform buzzed. Twitter threads, Instagram reels, TikTok clips, and YouTube shorts dissected the event in meticulous detail. It wasn't just a confrontation, it was a masterclass in strategy, power dynamics, and the consequences of public actions in the age of social media. By the end of the night, the echoes of the confrontation reverberated beyond the studio, spilling into interviews, podcasts, and online debates. Alliances shifted, reputations were recalibrated, and one thing became crystal clear. In the world of hip-hop, respect is earned, consequences are real, and every moment, especially one captured on camera, has the potential to change the game forever.